Hello everybody, my name is Christian, and today we are going to be talking about the next characters that I think could be getting SP forms in Honkai Star Rail. Now, this is entirely motivated by the fact that version 4.x has just been filled with SP characters so far. We have seen ones for Sparksy, Silverwolf, Himiko, and we have gotten Blade as well, with even more on the way. There have just been a lot of these, and honestly, I have really liked it. I feel like a lot of these characters have been underrepresented, or they kind of needed these new forms to remain relevant story-wise, meta-wise, all that good stuff. So this has been really nice to see that these characters who actually need this have been getting these improved forms so that they can be played by all the players, they can get that same love that they deserve, all that. Now, with that in mind, there are also going to be some characters I'm going to talk about today that we are just going to go straight into. They are probably never getting an SP form, or it's going to be over a year. We're going to have a few lovely categories to go through, so keep that in mind. But with that said, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, become a YouTube member down below, and let's get into it. Okay, so me and my infinite wisdom kind of forgot to put in the tiers. Okay, so we've got our lovely tiers figured out here. I'm not even sure if I'm going to use all of these, but we'll stick with this for now. I've got all the characters who have already received SP forms in some way, shape, or form down here so that we don't have to talk about them. And yeah, we are now good to get into it. So I'm going to start from the top of the list and work my way down. I may jump around a little bit if there's a character I really want to talk about, but for the most part, we'll try and stay in order. Most of these starting characters are going to be, oh man, this is going to be a time. All right, so first up is Arlen. Yeah, never. He's just not plot relevant enough to get an SP. Okay, like, I'm gonna say that like 13 times. I'm gonna quickly go through and grab all the characters who I think are never getting an SP. So, I'm gonna say Arlen is never getting one. I'm going to say Yukong is never getting one. I'm going to say Natasha is never gonna get one. Asta's never gonna get one. Pela, probably not. Derval, probably not. Let me see here. Let me see. I'm gonna leave links on this list for now. I'll talk about that later. Misha's already dead, so basically no 4-star is going to get an SP, which really sucks. So like Jui, Hanya, Guanifan, which I'm very upset about. I would love to see a new Guanifan. That would be awesome. So I don't think any of these guys are getting SPs in the early part of the game. And then let's take a look here. I don't think Xing Shui is going to get one. I don't think Japard will get one. And then Sela just got Nova Flared, so she's definitely not getting one. I'm not going to rule it out for Sela yet, but it's very unlikely. Luca is a no. Okay, so the dogs opened my downstairs door and made it all the way up to my room in the attic. I don't know how they did that. Okay, I think this is all I want in the never tier for right now. I think that's fine. So let's move on to the first actual character I'm going to talk about, and I'll talk about a bit of a group with this first one. It is going to be Hook and the other childlike characters, or the other younger characters. Now, I have long hoped that we would play Star Rail for long enough for there to be a significant time gap, or like a specific time skip at some point throughout the course of the story. That has always been a hope of mine, and I do genuinely believe it's possible. And that means that I feel like some of these childlike characters, they could get older forms of them when they are stronger and just, you know, they're going to be substantially different people from who they are right now that we know them as. Like, especially for a character like Yanqing or Clara, who are very young, but are already very notable characters in their own world, in their own right. So I'm going to quickly knock off some of the child characters of where I think they could be. Now, looking at Hook, which is the first one on the list over here, I'm going to say Hook, if it does happen, it's going to be, like, most of these are going to be no time soon. I think all of these are no time soon, unfortunately. I think Hook has the least chance to happen, and I think Yanqing has the highest chance to happen. So we're going to put Yanqing in no time soon. Then I think we're going to put Clara. We're going to put Hook. Then Lynx. Honestly, honestly, I think I'm a bit more out on Lynx than I thought I was, which is a shame. I actually really like Lynx. I think she was an underrated healer. But yeah, I don't think Lynx is getting in there. Yoon Lee is also going to be up there with Yanqing. I think she has a high chance of getting a different form in the future. And I'm going to put Bailu here as well. I'm not sure if we would ever get to a point where Bailu could actually develop into a different character. We spend enough time away for Bailu to actually develop into an older character as well, who is going to be, like, stronger, smarter, all that. I'm not sure if that's actually possible in the duration of Honkai Star Rail's story, but I do think that would be really cool. And I don't think it's the most outlandish thing, especially compared to the idea of, like, I don't know, Luca getting a second form. Like that, I think that's not happening at all compared to Bailu. So I'm going to say that this one is like on the table because the way this Yenjo is, they always keep going back to this Yenjo over time to expand on that story more and more. Like, it's the same way where Luocha has been in prison for 3 years for us, and it's been a few months in game. Like, Luocha is the biggest wasted potential in this entire game, and it aggravates me every single day. But I just hope that Bailu isn't going to be that case. Alright, yeah, that's good for no time soon. So now, Sampo. Here's the thing. I think Sampo SP is going to happen. I do think it's going to happen. The thing is, though, is that likely kind of meant that it would be within the next year, and then a year away. I should have put a year plus away. I'm actually going to switch that right now. A year plus away. I do not think Sampo SP is going to come within the next year, which is unfortunate because I feel like because we're on Plan Arcadia, we are on the home of Elation. This would be his best possible chance to make that entry back. But I don't know. I'm not sure, honestly. I just don't think he has had enough plot relevance. I don't think he's had enough build-up. I don't think he's had enough anything to really warrant getting the second form yet, which is really unfortunate. It's like, if they were going to do it, I feel like they were going to push him more in that direction during the early stages of Plan Arcadia, so that way during the ending stages, he could be that big reveal. We've not gotten that. He's been barely a presence since those early updates, and that is really unfortunate for kind of his SP stocks. I do think it's gonna happen, but I think we still have a bit too much time to wait. Okay. Next up is Su Shang. Su Shang is actually also gonna go into the no time soon. I do think it is possible for the same reason that I think it's possible for Yan Sheng. Su Shang is a character who is going to continuously keep training, and if you know anything about Honkai Impact 3rd, Honkai Impact 3rd actually has Su Shang as a character as well, and she is a master swordsman in that, an incredibly powerful character. I do think that Su Shang in this world is probably not going to live up to that potential, but I do think she is capable of becoming far more powerful than where she is at right now. The biggest thing is always going to be, will it actually come to fruition? Because Su Shang is also just not the most popular character, and she is a 4-star, so that always makes getting these SP forms way harder, unless you were very much like a core element of a story, or you are going to be put into a story as a core element. I don't think Su Shang is going to get all that, so this one's a very much long shot, but I do think there's much more possibility than any of the characters in Never. Bronya. So when you think about it, Silverwolf SP is basically Bronya SP. Oh, Jesus Christ. There's 100 Honkai Impact fans who are booing me right now. I'm really torn on Bronya and Seela. I'm gonna actually group them together because they're the same archetype of character. They are characters who were very important in past games, and they have not had that same relevance in this game. They do not have the same potential of power at all. So to say that I think that they could get a second path, like they could get that upgraded form, it feels very unlikely when Belobog as a whole is just not that important, and these characters do not have that unrivaled potential that a lot of the other characters we've met have. It is not entirely possible, but I'm really not too sure about that. Honestly, I think with just the way this game is, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I don't think Bronya or Seela is getting a second path. I don't think it's gonna happen, which is really unfortunate, but I just don't see a world where they're going to keep relying on the same characters that they've always relied on for more than just a simple appearance or for more than just, you know, like their one-time story grabs. Like, they've done that with Acheron, Cyrene, who are obviously characters from the past of Honkai, or from the past of Hoyoverse. Bronya and Ciela were here early, and they have not done anything since, and they've not been given that opportunity, and I think that's okay. But at the same time, I think that means that they're not going to change that at any point. Welt. I'm of the opinion that at some point in Honkai Star Rail, I think Welt is gonna die. Yes, I know lore nerds, calm down. I don't know how it would happen, but I am convinced that Welt is going to die at some point through the story of Honkai Star Rail. And if he doesn't, then he kind of has to get an SP at some point. So I'm going to say a year plus away. I think it's going to entirely depend on how the story goes. But for right now, it's either he dies or he gets a new form. And there's no in between. So I'm going to stick with that as my guess. Jing Yuan. I think Jing Yuan is more likely to get a Nova Flare than a second path. The way he as a character is he's already at kind of his highest potential, his strongest form, I believe. So to try and find some other form of enhancement for him is going to be really difficult. Now, do I think a second path for him would be very nice? Yes, because he desperately needs it. He is outdated, he is not strong, and he is a fan favorite character. However, that kind of lends itself more to him being a Nova Flare target. As of right now, I think I'm going to say this is a never. I really hope that that's not the case. I really hope that's not the case. Luocha, if this doesn't happen, I'm everybody. Nobody say... Actually, cut that out. I'm not getting in trouble again with the YouTube censors, bro. If this doesn't happen, I am going to somebody. Like, I am going to... Luocha has had too much buildup to just be a jobless bum. They need to make him an SP. Like, we need that in this game. Also, another incredibly outdated character. Yeah, like, we need an SP form for him at some point.
Kafka.
I think this is actually very likely. I think this is very, very likely to happen soon. Like, let's think about it. All of the other Stellaron hunters besides Firefly have gotten a SP form at this point. So, we've got Blade and Silverwolf already with forms. We now have a more physical form of Elio, and Elio will likely become a character at some point in the future. So now it's just Firefly and Kafka. They've both already received a Nova Flare, and look at who's doing better in the meta right now. It's Firefly, because she got a Nova Flare and new teammates and all that. Kafka, while still a good character and essential for DOT, she is incredibly popular, and she is a key part of the story like the other Stellaron hunters are. The only reason I feel like she is not getting a SP right now is because she is not involved in the plot of this planet like Blade and Silverwolf are. If she was, I think she would have gotten an SP form. So that means that the next time she's going to be involved in a planet story, I 100% think it's coming. And that can actually also be said for Firefly. However, I think it's going to be farther away for Firefly, so I'm going to say a year plus. Because right now, she is still incredibly strong, and just like Kafka, it is dependent on when she is going to be involved in the story again. And if you know anything about the lore, she obviously doesn't have as much ability to be involved as these other characters in a lot of cases. So right now, I'm going to say Firefly is still a year away. Bushwan. I don't think it's happening, honestly. I just don't see a world where it happens. Like, even if she does become the new general of the Xianzhou Luofu, that could be a boost for her, but overall, I think throughout the course of the game, it's just not gonna happen. Jing Liu. I am going to say... Honestly, I think I'm going to say never. I think Jing Liu as a character is just more outdated, even just in terms of the actual lore. Like, she is extremely old compared to everybody else. She already has sickness. Like, she got her Nova Flare as well. She's a good character, and she at least has some interesting lore because of the relation to the High Cloud Quintet. Overall, though, I just don't see a world where she is going to get a new form at any point soon. Or at all, because I think they would also prioritize the new current members who are far more active in the main story, like Jing Yuan, over her. So if I don't think he's going to get one, I definitely don't think she's going to get one. You ever just realize how many fucking characters there are? To be fair, Amphorius is going to be real easy. Next up is Topaz, and for my hope and for my sanity and for just everything, I hope it's likely. I think with Avon getting a new form, and we're going to Astropolis, and the IPC is going to continuously keep being part of the story, I do think at some point Topaz is going to get an SP, Avon's already getting one, and that also means that I think Jade is going to get an SP. Now, I'm going to put Jade with Firefly. I think it is further away because Jade is also just not as much of a popular character, I believe, as Topaz is. We also knew Topaz first, and that doesn't always matter, but I do just think it's more likely in that case. Because also, Topaz needs it. She's just not a very good character right now. She needs that power boost a bit more compared to Jade. So I'm gonna leave it like this. I think Topaz, maybe not. It might be a bit of a close call. I think it might be over a year, but right now I'm gonna say likely because I really want it. Whoa, no time soon. I don't know. It could happen. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say never. Never mind. I don't trust that it's going to happen. I think there's nothing to actually make an SP out of with her. Like, truth be told, I'm not sure there's anything substantial there. Argenti. He's just like the most fucking nothing character ever. I don't know what to do. What do I say about this? Never, I guess? You know what? Actually, I'm going to say there's a very, very small chance that he somehow finds Adrilla and then he becomes like the ascended form of himself. I'm gonna go with that. I do think that's a higher possibility once again than Asta getting a fucking SP form, so we'll say Argenti's in no time soon. Ron May. I actually think this is going to happen at some point, purely because of the way her research is and her kind of very, very lofty goals and ambitions. I think she is going to continuously keep trying to become stronger, to figure out the core of her research and to actually make it happen. And with that in mind, I think at some point she will return in the story with another big role, and she will be gifted an SP form for that. So yeah, we're gonna say a year plus away. Dr. Ratio. It's funny, I feel like if it was ever gonna happen, at Astropolis would actually be a good time for him, mainly because he could become an SP together with his boy Aventurine. I don't think it's actually entirely out of the question. I do think it is possible for him to get an SP form. I just don't think it's going to be soon, so we're going to put him with Argenti. Black Swan. Honestly, I'm kind of leaning never. I don't know what you make an SP out of politely. I don't know what you make an SP out. Like, what do you do with that? She has her defined role. They can continuously Nova Flare her or whatever. I don't think it makes much sense to make a new form for her, which is, it's funny because as a Memo Keeper, her form is kinda not really linked. She doesn't really need this form, so she can make an entirely new one, and then boom, you just slap an SP on that, there you go. So it's honestly pretty easy for Black Swan to be changed, I feel like, but I just don't, that's only from a lore perspective. Actual in-game perspective, she's always going to be sticking with DOT, and as long as they continuously keep actually upgrading it, then what else is there to say? I think she's probably in the never camp. Oh, I forgot about Gallagher. He's never, he's dead. Acheron. This is a year plus away. This is gonna happen, I feel like, for sure. Acheron has been a character who continuously reappears in small moments. For just a single second at a time, Acheron will appear in stories, and she will have an impact. She's a character who I think deeply affected the Trailblazer, and she had a very noticeable impact on the story and just everything while she was around. This is a character we are going to run into again, and I do 100% think she is going to get a stronger form in the future. I do also think it's not going to come soon because they just buffed her with fucking Mordenak's Blade, and she is hitting like a goddamn truck. She does not need the upgrade in any way, shape, or form, which is why I think it's going to come at a much later point. Boot Hill. I'm going to say never. I just don't see what could become an SP of him. I think he definitely needs a Nova Flare, like right now in this moment. I think it would be wonderful for him. Overall, I do not think that there's anything he can do as a character that will elevate him into a status where he needs a second form, unless specifically they want to do what they're doing with Robin and Venturine, where they just make a second skin for him, and then bada boom, that's your second path, and that's your way to keep him relevant. I'm going to talk about that at the end of this video, because realistically, I think that's going to happen with almost every 5-star. But we're going to focus on actual, like, normal chances of getting an SP right now. Moz, real quick, is going to go in Never. I just don't see it happening. Zhao Cho, I also don't think him, if we're being honest. Because both of their usefulness is tied directly to Fei Xiao. And if anybody's going to get a second form, I actually think it's going to be Fei Xiao. I'm not sure if there is a... You know what, actually, I'm going to lower this. Actually, should she go with Jing Yuan? Because that was my reasoning. Like, you can't enhance them much past this point. You know what, actually, yeah. I'm breaking my own rules. My apologies. I think Fei Xiao's probably in the Never tier then. So here's the thing, is that these two characters are just so powerful in their own right, but they just need help gameplay-wise. The only way they are likely going to be improved is through Nova Flares and through teammates. I think that you cannot really justifiably find a way to give them another power-up through in-game reasons. It would have to be purely you just want to make them stronger and have people pull for them again, and that is the direction that we're going to go with, which I hope is going to be the case. But as of right now, I don't think there's any way that these two realistically can score an SP. Ling Xia, low-key also a Never. Luofu really don't got much to work with, man. Rappa, I think Rappa is in the same boat as Boothill. You know, this is the part that really sucks, is that they're both in Never, and yet Firefly is in fucking a year away. It's like, it's really not trying to be favoritism towards Firefly. It's the fact that the game itself has favoritism towards Firefly. We have 3 main break DPS, and 2 of them are just not anywhere near as essential to the story as Firefly is, because she's part of the Stellaron Hunters. So these two get shafted and Firefly gets even more reward. It's like, I don't know if you guys know, it's like that pipeline meme where it's all going to the fat guy and there's a single drip going to the person who's like dying. It's like that. That's what the break pipeline is. All right, Sunday. I absolutely think Sunday's getting an SP. I'm not sure if it's likely or a year plus away. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say likely. I think by the time the next anniversary comes around, we'll be close, or we'll have a Sunday SP, because he is going to be sticking with the Astral Express more than likely. At this point, I'll be shocked if he does not stay. So he's got to get a bit of a power up. He's got to get something else going to kind of match this new lifestyle, this new stats he has. And I do think that we could get it in the course of the next story, as right now his powers are expanding. His powers are kind of changing from what he knew them as. So right now is kind of the exploratory state for him. And then I think the next update we see him have a major role is when he's going to get his new form. Okay, so now we're at all the Chrysos heirs. I am going to make a prediction. I think at some point over the course of the game, we are going to go back to Amphorius. That's not a bold prediction. I do think we are also going to get new forms of all the Chrysos heirs when we go back for a full version, rather than just like a one-off. That is my current prediction, and I kind of think that that would be really funny. It would be annoying as all hell, but I do think it'd be funny. So genuinely, I'm going to put all of the Chrysos heirs in no time soon. This is like a major jump in logic, but I don't think it's the most outlandish thing for this game when you consider how fucking popular Amphorius was, and how beloved this cast of characters was, and how we won't return to Amphorius until like 6.x. So we will have literally so long with just these characters being the way that they are, that a Nova Flare will be justifiable, or that an SP form will be justifiable. All right, I stand on all of these. I think that this is possible. All right, honestly, we're just about done here, because these characters are all way too new to even think about having an SP, and they are very much standalone characters. I think Yao Guang is going to be with the other generals. Ashvale, I do think there is a very small potential, but I don't think it's enough to put him out of Never. Dahlia and Evanescia are actually somewhat different cases. I think Dahlia, because of the fact that she constantly switches factions, she's constantly doing different things, and she is in fact very powerful, I actually do think there is potential for her to get an SP form in the future, and I actually think it's higher than Black Swan, because of everything that I just mentioned. For that reason, I'm actually going to put her in no time soon, and I am actually going to put Evanescia in a year plus away. This is entirely based on lore. If you know, Evanescia is seemingly stuck to the planet of Plan Arcadia. She is kind of trapped there. Realistically, I do think time could pass, or there could be a way for her to eventually evolve and leave it, and I do think that is where an SP form would come in. That is not a sturdy line of thinking, but I do think there is actually potential in that mindset. I'm not going to rule it out. I do genuinely think there is a world where Evanescia can get an SP. It's definitely going to be a year plus away, but I do think it has higher potential of happening than many of the other characters. And down here is just fake characters and the MC. So yeah, that doesn't matter. All right, so nobody got into the coming soon tier. Whoops, my bad, guys. All right, so that was a useless tier. Let's ignore that one. Overall, this is what the list looks like. I am pretty happy with this. I think a lot of my judgments made a lot of sense. I hope that many of you can at least see some of the logic that I'm going with, agree with some of it, and I'm curious to see who you guys think is going to be the next SP character, who you guys think is the most likely. And if you disagree with any of this, then hey, leave a comment. It boosts engagements. Well, that is going to be it for today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I've got plenty more good videos coming out soon, so I will see you guys then. Bye-bye.